are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Raymakers here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I want to thank you for taking time to join us here this morning on the National Guardian Life Funeral Trust Funding webinar. We have a very special guest with us here today, John Enting. John is the one who brought us this product years ago. I will tell you, John is very versed in this product, very versed in this business. He's been a top 5 in both annuity and life production with us, and so he is in the field himself. And obviously that's a plus for you because he is out in the field just like you, handling the objections, presentations, etc. And so, John, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule here today to help us with this webinar.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So here's the deal for today. We're going to have this recorded for you so that we can shoot it back out to you. You can review it and listen to it as many times as you want. And then obviously for questions, you'll see there's a question box. You can type those in there as we go. And then lastly, what I want to do, and I'll mention this here again in the webinar, is we always have people that agents that come on a little bit later, but we will have a training on the presentation, the sales, as well as the objections of this particular product on Monday, June 5th at 10 a.m. Central Time. So you might want to jot that down on your calendar. So today we'll talk about the product itself, and then we'll talk about the sales and handling of objections the first Monday in June. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I will tell you, I'm going to have a couple of polls here this morning, and all I need you to do is just quickly check yes or no on these, and our first one's coming up right now. This is on our Life and Annuity Training Academy. So what I want to do is, I know some of you come on here, you may not be expecting the infomercial I'm going to do here, but I need to tell you about who we are. We've been in this business now for 31 years, and our goal is to obviously help you to grow your business. It's tough, it's lonely out there. And so what we do is we provide you a lot of different benefits and services to make you more effective, more successful, and financially more independent. And so one of the things that we do here is training, which is a real big thing. You'll notice our webinar schedule is jam-packed with webinars. But this here is an off-site training that we do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this poll out here real quick. If you're interested, just mark yes, and I'll explain to you how this works. So first of all, what we do is we pay for your airfare, your meals, and your lodging to fly out to a location in Des Moines, and centrally located in the country, obviously. So that we do that for a reason. And or we do one here in our office. Now we've got one scheduled here in September, which will be here in Omaha, Nebraska. And what we do is we bring speakers in from across the country. John, who is co-hosting the webinar this morning, will or should be in attendance for this particular one we've got coming up. But what we're going to talk about is ways to help you to increase your life business and ways to help you increase your annuity business. Now, a lot of times it happens is somebody's just, I don't want to necessarily say one-trick pony, but they focus on one product line. And after attending this event, they're able to incorporate other sales tools and concepts into their business, thus grows their overall commission and makes them a better advisor. And that's what this is all about. So we do talk about product. It's not a product-driven training, I'll tell you that. We use products to help you to close and to work the concepts. So those are kind of integrated in with the presentation. So it's not like you're coming out here to learn about annuities or learn about life insurance. It's how to learn about marketing yourself, how to increase your sales, how to do seminars, how to do a better job of managing your block of business. And so if you're interested in this, if you mark yes, what we'll do is we'll email you out an agenda. We'll email you out an application. We've got an event that's scheduled for next week. That one is already full. But we have 2 more events scheduled this year. And so if you want to attend one of these upcoming events by marking yes, at least what we can do is we can get you the information so you can take a look at it. And then we can discuss which training event might be best for you. So September and then in November again is when we have these next 2 events. All right, so we got about 57% of you have voted in. You know, one thing I will tell you is if you're not getting training today, you're missing the boat, because I'll tell you right now, one thing that I've learned, and I'm sure John would chime in on this as well, but investing in yourself is one of the best things you can do for your business. There's so much to learn. There's so many new concepts. There's so many new things that are out there. And with the Department of Labor ruling that is coming down here, as you know, it's been postponed into June, things are going to get real different for our business. And so we need to be prepared for that. And we will address that. We will help you to be prepared for that upcoming change that will affect all of us. And again, That's what the DOL. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this pull out. If you decide that you want to attend the event, any one of them, or you want to know more, get more information, all you have to do is type in the box Academy, or you can call our office, and the number is 800-255-5055. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing here. We have a new producer bonus. So I see that there's some new names here this morning. So once you get contracted with us, with National Guardian Life for today's purposes, what happens is, let's say you write $100,000 in trust premium. You have a choice between a $750 cash bonus or a 2-year subscription to a newsletter and a website service or a free iPad. Now, each one of these tiers here would be dollar for dollar for trust, dollar for annuity premium, dollar for single premium life, or a fraction of that for traditional life. So if you redeem one of these, then that's it. Some of you might want to wait to get to the 300,000 level, where you can choose a full Social Security program and 3,000 piece postcard mailing, or a $2,000 matching money to promote your business, or then there's the gift card as well. Now, a couple things that you can do if you say, you know what, I don't want to wait that long. I want to go ahead and get involved in these programs right now. You can call and ask for Josh. He can help you at the website. And you can call and ask for anyone in the annuity department. They can talk to you about the full Social Security program. This is a great way to get in front of more senior buyers. So either you can earn it or you can buy it. But I will tell you right now, for those agents that have bought into this program, that have put forth the effort, they are seeing the sales that they would expect to see with this program. Lastly, there's the 500,000 level, where you could take advantage of a 5,000 piece mailing with seminar coaching with Matt Gill, or 4,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Dave Pimper. Now, when we do our training, I can tell you that both of these agents, both these advisors are there. They do a tremendous job in their seminar. They're a little bit different than each other, obviously, which is nice, because when you're here, you can see how they do it, and you'll find that one might be more to your style, your liking. But you can buy into the program or you can earn it. Lastly, if you choose not to take advantage of either one of those, there's a Ritz-Carlton Travel Rewards program. You can make your own personal vacation getaway. So here's something that we do every year. We always have a trip that you're qualifying for. And so the nice thing about this is for yourself and for your guest, whomever that would be. And you'll see that the qualification period starts at the very bottom of the screen, July 1st of 2016. It runs to December 31st of this year. And you'll notice that everything that you write, whether it's annuities, it's traditional life, long-term care, single premium life, all those dollars that you write all contribute towards this particular trip. So it can be, you don't have to do it in one product line, they all go together. Our trip dates are February 25th through the 28th. That's in Scottsdale at the Boulders Resort and Spa. Now, one thing I will tell you is that you can actually qualify for 2 trips on the same dollar, and John will talk about that here in just a bit, as NGL does have a trip as well. So we'd certainly love to see you there. That is for producer and guest. Our creative services, this is something, if you're not taking advantage of something like this with your current IMO, this is what we can do for you to help you, as well as a number of other things I'm going to cover here in just a minute. But we can do something as simple as branding your business, get you a basic logo, all the way up to television advertisements. And I will tell you right now that the agents that we've helped with branding have seen an increase. Those that are taking advantage of social media have seen an increase in their business. We've been able to help with that. So if you're not getting that kind of service or benefit now, I strongly encourage that you call and ask for our creative services department, and they can discuss with you whatever needs that you might have. So keep that in mind. It's a great way to grow your business. Now, obviously, we talked about DOL just a bit ago. What we have done is we've created our own RIA. So we have Insurance Agency Marketing Services, Wealth Management. And so what we have here is a way for you to obviously increase your revenue by doing things such as manage money. So you can set up a trail where you're going to get recurring revenue as long as you're in this business. And if you're not taking advantage of that now, one of the things we can help you to do is to help to pay for your 65 exam. If you're not testing for that, maybe you're considering, this is a great thing. And I'll tell you that most advisors that are doing this are seeing an increase in their traditional insurance as well, because there's more of a holistic approach to planning. You're really becoming an advisor. And I'll tell you right now, John is one of the best in the business. I've seen what he does. He takes a holistic approach. And so this can help you by working with the IAMS Wealth Management Department, because you'll have an array of products and abilities to help your clients that you may not have right now. It also helps you with client retention. You're going to keep clients longer because they are committed to you. They're putting more business with you. And if you know anybody who's in property and casualty business, they know right now that the more lines of business that they have with you, or themselves, I should say, the more likely you are to keep that client. And I'll tell you one thing too, is as you do this, and I've been in this business now since '88, when you have that advisory role, you're going to see that your clients are going to view a lot differently. They're going to stay with you. In fact, a lot of times I've seen where agents out there don't have this broad array of products and knowledge. They lose their business to advisors because of that education level, because of the ability to be multifaceted. So I'd strongly encourage you to give IAMS Wealth Management a call. What I'm going to do here real quick, this will just take us a second, is if you want, I can have one of the individuals in our department give you a call, and they can discuss the opportunities with you here. So if you want to just mark down, if you want to call, mark yes, and I'll go ahead and have one of the gentlemen in the IAMS Wealth Management team give you a call and discuss the options, and just see what we can do to help you. Because I know that when I was in the field, I got my series license, and the ability for me to write more business was tremendous because I could help clients in so many different ways that I couldn't before. And unfortunately, when I didn't have my license, I know that business was walking away from me because I was not licensed to do it. So it's a great opportunity for you to increase your sales and your commissions, and again, maintain that relationship with that client for a longer period of time. Okay, so I'm going to close this poll here in 2 seconds. About half of you voted, and I certainly appreciate that. So what we'll do is we'll have one of those individuals give you a call here at the end of the webinar and just visit with you about the options and the ability for us to help you on that side of your business. And that series exam, it's somewhat intimidating. John just completed his, and it takes time, but anything worth having does take time. Wouldn't you agree, John?
Absolutely. Great addition to the business.
Okay, so I'm going to close this poll. We're going to go ahead and move on. Again, if you change your mind and you want to visit with one of those, all you need to do is just call the office here. And again, it's 800-255-5055. Okay, with that said, John, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to you. And again, folks, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type those in the question box. We'll address those when appropriate. So thank you, John.
Well, good morning, Mark. Now I'm hearing a little bit of echo. Are you hearing that from me?
No. I tell you what, I'm going to mute my phone and see if that helps.
Oh, either way, that's good. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me today on the webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about the National Guardian Life Funeral Trust funding, an unlimited opportunity for both new and existing clients. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about the opportunity that exists with this product. Many of you may not be familiar with this product. It is an ancillary product that we use in our business. We've had a lot of success of helping clients with it. So we'll talk about where that might fit into what you do in your business. We'll talk about the trusts that are used to hold these life insurance policies and how these trusts give the clients protection from nursing home spend down, and also another trust that we use that gives them a 5-year look back protection period as well. We'll talk about the product that we use to fund it. I'll give you some presentation ideas and tools, and we'll also talk about the company itself, National Guardian Life. I will say this to you, and Mark mentioned it early in his conversation with you, that on the 5th of June, we will be doing a training for licensed only agents. We have a lot of agents who are licensed across the country, and in this one I'll go through exactly what we do and what we say when we're in front of a client using this product. We find it helps the producers increase their production once they've attended it. So again, if you like what you hear today and you end up licensing with National Guardian Life, you'll certainly get an invitation to that training on the 5th of June. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the opportunity itself. This product was brought to me by a good friend of mine that's been in this business for a long time. He brought it to me about 13 years ago. I didn't know anything about it, didn't understand it, but he told me that I needed to understand it because it was a great opportunity not only to add another income leg to my business, but to really help clients out there. And that's our job, is to, if we have an idea, is to get it in front of them and obviously motivate them to take action so that we get compensated for our efforts as well. And we all know we're in the planning business. That's what we do. Things aren't just going to happen. We have to consider the options for the clients. We have to show them a plan that'll work and how to implement it. And when we talk about save, we're talking about where are we going to pull the dollars from to help them fund the plan to make sure that they've got it completed. So when we talk about funeral and final expenses, they aren't any different. What's going to happen here is when someone passes away, someone's going to need to determine the services and pay the bill. And the question then becomes who and when. So you got two options here. You can either have your clients go ahead and get this planning done while they're alive and of good mind and make sure that everything is the way that they want it to happen, or it can work out like it happened in my own personal life. My dad passed away on January 21st of 2011. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old. I knew my father. I wasn't super close with him. But in our family, again, I'm the youngest of five, and I've always been a business owner, so everyone kind of looks towards me. So when this happened, I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office, and the funeral director was asking me all kinds of questions. What was my dad's mother's maiden name? You know, I'd never even met her. What was my dad's rank in the military, his favorite flower, his favorite hymn? All the questions that I didn't have answers for. But what it did is it made me realize that what I've been doing for my clients over all of these years, that I had actually been making sure that their loved ones weren't put in the situation that I was in, because when we do this plan, not only do we get the funding done for them, but we also provide them a guide where they will put all these questions that will be asked into writing, so that when something happens, whether you had met them before or you hadn't, you could literally take their National Guardian Life contract and this document and walk into a funeral home and take care of their final arrangements. So there's two ways that you can do that. The first one is to plan and pay for the funeral. We call that pre-need. That's where the client goes into a funeral home and picks out their casket and the things that they can prepay for at today's cost. Or you can go the route that most of us would go, and that would be pay for the anticipated expenses. In other words, show the client how we can put money aside for their final expenses. That money's going to be held by an insurance company, and then when that money's needed at death, the insurance company's going to step up and pay those bills. So a lot of times when you bring this up with the client, the question they're going to ask you is, well, how much does a traditional funeral cost? I will tell you, I've had a couple deaths here in the last month or so, and we always ask our clients what their funerals ran for their loved ones, and we're seeing right now somewhere around that $13,000 to $15,000 range. We are seeing an uptick in people who want to be cremated, but there's still a selling opportunity there for them as well to put that money away for the cremation. So one of the questions that we ask them is, you know, if something happened to you yesterday, how would your funeral be paid for today? And the reason we ask them that question is we're trying to get them to think that, gosh, you know, where am I going to get that money from? If something happened to me today, where would the money come from to take care of these final expenses for me? So I'm going to give you another question to ask them that's a little bit simpler at the end of this presentation that will give you an answer and give you an opportunity to move forward in the conversation with the client. Now, what's the opportunity? A national survey, 72% thought it was a good idea to pre-plan, but 64% had not taken any steps to do so. Your clients aren't any different, and here's what I'll say about that. Very rarely do you have a husband and wife wake up on a bright sunny day and turn to each other and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we go down and pick out our caskets today? That's just not a real fun thing to think about. I saw a study that the human mind can only comprehend for about 20 seconds the thought of their own passing. So again, your clients aren't any different than the ones I'm working with, and I'll show you how to motivate and move those clients towards getting their planning done. Now, we all know if you're in the senior market, this market is huge. The numbers tell us that by 2025, there are going to be almost twice as many seniors as there are today. So if you're in this business and you're in it for the long term, if you can learn a product like this and just add it to what you're doing now, you're going to see, like me, that one day you're going to look back and go, wow, I've been doing this for 13, 14 years with this product, and all the clients that you have helped along the way, and also the revenue that you have generated for your business. Now, the one thing that we talk to clients about is considering that 69% of all Americans older than 65 are going to need nursing care. And then we talk to them about that average cost of care. And what's amazing to me, and I'm sure that most of you probably know this already, but 92% of all Americans don't have any type of long-term care protection in place to protect everything that they've worked hard for. And so what we'll do is we'll have this conversation with the client, and we'll explain to them that by using the National Guardian Life Trust, we do have a couple of ways to help them protect their money, and that if they have somebody who's in a long-term care situation right now that is spending their assets down, that we can also show them an idea to get some of that money 100% protected from Medicaid spend down immediately. And I'll share that with you as we go a little bit further into the presentation. So how does all this fit together? All we're doing is we're using a life insurance product with National Guardian Life, and then we're taking advantage of the funeral trust that they provide us. So one of the nice things about the trust with them is they're free. So it's going to allow your clients to plan ahead. They're going to be able to set that money aside for their final expenses. We're going to use the trust to hold that money. And so what we're effectively doing is we're spending down that asset, and this can help prevent that money from being included when they go to apply in a Medicaid situation. And I would say it's very important to understand and be able to explain to a client that if they don't have any long-term care protection, there are certain provisions and protections if they're married. But if they're single, there's no protections. All bets are off. They're going to make them spend every dime of their assets at a nursing home. So let's talk a little bit about the trust themselves. The nice thing about the trust is they protect the money from creditors. The benefits that come out are going to be 100% income tax free. The funds are going to be available immediately. What I mean by that is if a client passes away, within 48 hours, those funds are at the funeral home for the client's family. Again, the trusts are free. Everybody is going to qualify for assigning their policy to the trust. And then the death proceeds that we use for the funeral expenses are going to avoid probate costs and delays. And here's a key thing, the funds are totally portable. I've been doing this since 1987 in the annuity business. I've had a lot of clients whose kids live out of state, and the clients end up moving to be closer to their grandchildren. If you prepay for your funeral locally and then you decide that you're going to move to Florida to live close to the grandchildren, that can present a problem for you. With the National Guardian Life Plan, those funds are totally portable. You can buy it here, wherever your state of residence is, and live there your whole life and use it at the funeral home you would have anyway. Or if you move to be closer to your grandchildren and now you're going to end up being buried in Florida, you can certainly use it at any funeral home in the state that you move to. So the next chart's just going to compare for us what these saving instruments do, and then compare them against the irrevocable funeral trust. I'll give you a second just to read through that on your own. But I think the key to this slide here is that if we look at the irrevocable funeral trust, everything that we're looking for, we're getting a yes to at the bottom of the slide. This question is going to come up later from somebody at the end of this. There is a PowerPoint presentation for the public that once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, you'll be able to access that to help you get started and to be able to walk through and explain things to your clients. This next slide will be part of that presentation, and it basically is going to tell us how the trust works. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation with the client. We're going to find out what money they're going to use to pay for their funeral. Then we're going to talk to them about taking that money today and using it to pre-plan, which is buy a life insurance policy that they will then assign to an irrevocable funeral trust. And what's going to happen is when that policy goes into the irrevocable funeral trust, the death benefit is going to grow, and it's going to grow tax-free. So the funds will earn interest until the money is needed. That word on there that says irrevocable is very important. When you do a plan with a client, you need to explain to them, this is irrevocable. We're never going to be able to borrow from the account. You can't cash it in. The money is only going to come out when you pass away because we're setting it aside to take care of your final expenses. Once a client passes away, the funeral provider is paid within 48 hours, and any excess funds in the funeral trust will be paid to the estate. The reason for that is because we put them in the funeral trust, we've excluded them from Medicaid spend down, which means the client can't have any incidents of ownership during their lifetime, and that would lead us to the conclusion that once the funeral home's paid, if there is any extra dollars left, and typically there's not, but if there is, they will have to file a simplified probate form to get the balance of that money back. So there's two different trusts with National Guardian Life. The first one is what's called the Funeral Expense Trust. I live in Ohio, so I'm just going to refer to that, and then here in a few minutes we'll show you a chart with all the states on it, because I can see we have a lot of people on here from all over the country. But what it does is in Ohio, I can put up to $15,000 per person into a funeral expense trust. So if I go into a household and I have a husband and wife, and they want to get $30,000 off of their accountable assets towards a Medicaid spend down, we can do that immediately. It'll exclude that money. Then, like I showed you on the slide before, when they pass away, that trust will pay for the funeral cost, and any excess funds will go to the estate of the insured. Now, there is another planning trust. It's called the Estate Planning Trust. That one we can put up to $100,000 in. That one's going to allow us to exclude the money, but it's going to have a 5-year look-back period. So if we put it in today, in May of 17, and the client lives till May of 22, then if they go into a nursing home, any funds that are in this trust are always 100% protected, and you can do up to $100,000 per spouse. Then what will happen is the funds will be used to pay for funeral expenses. A little caveat to that, if they've paid for the funeral, if they're just using this trust to protect money to move it to a beneficiary, and they've paid for their funeral some other way, all we have to do is show National Guardian Life that the funeral has been paid for, and then they don't have to take the funds out of this plan to pay for the funeral. It can all go to a beneficiary or a charity. It does not go back to the insured's estate. So the next question with most of the reps that we work with is going to be, when do I use which trust? The funeral expense trust is crisis planning. If you've got a client who you know right now, the husband or wife are in the nursing home and they're spending their money towards nursing home, you can go in there even if they're in a nursing home and you can write the plan on them. You don't even have to see them. They're in the nursing home and they answer on the health question yes to any of the health questions. Then the spouse can sign for them or the kids can sign for them. You don't even have to see them. Maybe Medicaid is possible within 5 years. Maybe the client's at home, they're getting home care, but it looks like they're running through their money pretty quickly. What a great tool to be able to protect some of that money for them. Or you'll get the typical client who just says, hey, all I want to do is put some money aside, know that it's growing, know that it's protected. I'm healthy as a horse. I just want to know the dollars are protected and it'll be there in the future. All those are great reasons for the funeral expense trust. And you can do a combination of the two trusts, but it can only be up to $100,000. So in Ohio, I could do $15,000 for the client in the funeral expense trust, because they want that done immediately. And then I could put 85,000 into the estate planning trust. Maybe Medicaid's a non-issue now, or 5 years. I always talk about the couple of teachers that I did this on. We put 100,000 each into this plan for them because they told me, look, John, we know we're healthy. We're never going to buy long-term care insurance. And if everything goes to heck in a handbasket, we want to make sure that our kids at least get this money. So it was a great way to transfer that money to the children. And after 5 years, it doesn't matter what happens to their health. That money's always going to be protected. And that's a real opportunity because you can pick up some big dollar plans using the estate planning trust. So the product itself in nature is really basic. It's a single premium life policy. It's called the NGL Asset Guard. A little bit different than if you were selling a single premium life out on the open market. Maybe you would give that company, insurance company, $15,000 and they'd give you $25,000 of death benefit. Ours doesn't work that way. We're not looking to have a cash value. We're looking to protect the dollars, dollar for dollar. So if we put $15,000 in, our death benefit might start out at $15,500, but that's okay because then that money is going to go into the trust and it's going to earn an interest rate and it's going to continue to grow while it's in there. So individual state limits, again, we'll put this up. I always encourage you, once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, always reach out to them. They'll tell you what the limits are, but you can see here, based on what state you're in, look at the estate planning trust. There's no limit on that. You can do 100,000. So I'm gonna give you an idea on that. If you have somebody that's healthy, and you live in, I'll just use Iowa. So you can only put 11,566 into the trust, but you've got somebody that's healthy. Why not show them how to put 100,000 in there, have that money protected in 5 years, and still what would happen is when they passed away, if they still wanted their final expenses to be paid out of there, that money that first comes out of the 100,000 would go to pay for their funeral cost, but the balance then would go to a named beneficiary. So again, funeral trusts are great. Well, we see those written all day long, but where you're really going to see your big ticket is if you can get the conversation started about protecting money with that estate planning trust. Go through that one, Mark. So here's the expenses that are paid for by the irrevocable funeral trust. You can see that just about everything that would be considered for a funeral is in there, and it's covered. So when you get a client that says, well, what about the graveside service? There's your list. Everything that you would want to get taken care of is going to be taken care of with the plan. So for today's purposes, I only talk about the single pay because that's all we do here in Intang Financial Services. So the minimum amount that a client can put in is $500. The maximum they can put in is $100,000. You can give them a growth rate up to 2.25%. There's one health question on the application. So again, we can write it from 0 to 99. This is a great talking point. If you have a client that has a lot of money and their intention is to leave some of the money to their grandchildren, why not share with them the idea of going ahead and opening up one of these plans for their grandchildren? Hey, it's irrevocable. Your grandchildren are never going to be able to take the money out of it. It's going to grow their entire lifetime, and it's going to be there for them when they pass away. And obviously, if you're using this plan, you could use the estate planning trust because you don't have to worry typically about a nursing home situation if you're dealing with grandchildren. So asset guard issue types, there's one health question. If they answer no, it's a standard issue. If they answer yes, it's a guaranteed issue. So if you're talking about this plan with a client and you're motivating them to get it done, you know one thing for sure, no one's going to come back and tell you they don't qualify for it. So it's the death benefit will increase daily with simple growth, and it's an immediate full death benefit. So if you wrote it on them today, and unfortunately somebody passes away 6 months from now, they're going to get the full death benefit out of the plan. Here's some other product features. The one product feature I like the best is it could not be easier to do. I've been in the annuity business since 1993. I remember when I wrote my first annuity, it was 3 pieces of paper, and one of those pieces of paper was a receipt that I left behind for the client. This product is so easy. 2 pieces of paper and your state replacement form, and you're done. You can literally fill it out in 15 minutes with the client. This is what it's going to look like. Here's the top half of the application. There's your health question. So you can see down there on the health question that it's pretty basic. If they answer yes, if you have somebody that's in a nursing home currently, obviously they're going to answer yes. Their spouse or their children can sign for them. You don't even have to see them. If they answer no, then you do need the signature of the person who is applying for the plan. The bottom of the page, just going to have the applicant sign. You're going to sign off, put your agent number on it. The next page is going to be if you're splitting it with another agent. If you're not, you're just going to give them a receipt for their payment if they paid you cash. This is the other form. This is the actual, we're just showing you the funeral expense trust. There is a different one for the estate planning trust. They read very similar. But this is what you're going to go through with them, that they're just putting this plan into the trust. They're going to sign off that they understand that. And then 45 days after the policy is issued, then the company will put the ownership into the trust. But if you have a client that you're working with that maybe is trying to apply for Medicaid, I work with an elder law attorney that has an office next door to me. Sometimes they're working with people who are already in the process of trying to qualify for Medicaid. We can waive the 45 days. We can take that money, put it into this plan, and immediately exclude it from having to be spent at a nursing home. So it's a really great tool for that. So when we're presenting it to clients, and again, I think if you get licensed and you attend the training, you'll get a lot more, because today I'm just going to give you a general overview. But what we tell our reps that we work with is an annual review is a great time to bring this up. And here's why I say that. An annual review is you're going in to review issues and discuss things that you've done for them, or maybe any needs that you haven't discussed with them. So if it were I were doing it, I may start out with something like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm here to do your review. I'm sure you would agree with me that the recommendations I've given you in the past have working out exactly like I'd explained them to you. Of course, they're going to tell you yes. Well, I've got something that we didn't get taken care of that we're addressing with all of our clients, and I want to make sure that you guys have this benefit in place as well. And then, boom, go into talking to them about the irrevocable funeral trust. You're going to stress the benefits of planning ahead. You know, the perfect example is me with my father. If he would have had all of that done, it was a stressful situation. I will tell you that, because I did not know the answers. But again, if you plan ahead, you can have all that taken care of. It can be used with any funeral home. So it's portable. If you're dealing with a funeral home in your town that you prepaid and they go bankrupt or go out of business, too bad. You know, you've lost your funds. You can also 1035 exchange existing life insurance. And I'm going to take just a second on this, because we see a lot of cases from our advisors using this. Do you understand that most of your clients do not know that when they own an older life insurance policy, one of the old paid ups that maybe has a death benefit of $15,000 and has cash value of $14,000, that when they die, their family doesn't get both of those numbers. They only get the bigger number. So they would get the $15,000. If you explain to your client that if they got sick and went into a nursing home, that they would have to spend that $14,000 in cash at the nursing home, it's a great moment to show them that they can 1035 exchange that $14,000 over into an irrevocable funeral trust and get it protected immediately from having to be spent at a nursing home. We saw a couple cases come in over the last couple months where the cash value was 70 and 80 grand and the death benefit was like 90,000, but the client, they didn't want to put that cash at risk of being spent at a nursing home, so they moved it over into the estate planning trust. The 1035 exchange is a fantastic opportunity to move cash value into this plan and get it protected for your clients. And then again, we got to close the sale. That's the end game. Motivating them, having them have a need, showing them how you can fulfill it, and then closing the sale and letting them know that, hey, you know, once we're done with this program, if I'd never met you before, I could walk in here, pick up your National Guardian Life contract, your guide that you've filled out, give it to the funeral director, and take care of your funeral for you without ever have met you. It's that detailed. So it's a great selling point. You need to point that out to them. So where do you find the money? Oh my gosh, here's the question I told you real early in the presentation that we ask every one of our clients, new clients that we bring on. It's real simple. Have you prepaid your funeral? It's a yes or no question. If they tell you no, wow, what an opportunity you've just uncovered to lead them down the path of getting it taken care of. If they tell you that they have, then you need to spin that over to, well, do you have any money that if you went into a nursing home that you would absolutely want protected and to go to a particular beneficiary? Because if they tell you, yes, gee, I never thought about it, but I do, then you've got the estate planning trust that you can help them accomplish that goal. So if you ask that question, you know, you'll hear clients when you ask them if they prepaid and they say no. Well, how do you plan on doing that? You'll hear answers. Well, my kids know I have 2 CDs at the bank. One of them's to pay my final expenses. Again, in the training, I'll go through these different instruments with you and tell you how we spin it and motivate the client to want to take that money out of there to get their planning done with us. And again, the clients already have the money. You're just talking about having to move it from their left pocket to their right pocket to get some protection. Once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, the 2 brochures that we use the most are the one flanking the Understanding Medicaid, so the one on the left, one on the right. Once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, you can order these brochures online. They're a nice glossy brochure. You can also have your company information imprinted on the back of them. National Guardian Life has been around for over 100 years. Very big financial company. They've got great ratings. You know, I'm big on client and agent experience, and I will tell you, I've worked with this company for 13 years. I've never had one issue with them. They pay their money out when they say. They issue their policies immediately. Just to kind of give you an idea on that, if you wrote a plan tomorrow, and let's say it was a $15,000 plan, well, today's Friday, so let's say you wrote it today, you sent it into the company and they got it on Monday, by Wednesday, your commissions are going to be in your account. So their submission to commission is very solid. And again, I've never had an issue with them. They're just a fantastic company to work with. Their website is awesome. This is kind of what you see when you log into it. When you do get paid a commission, you can click reports, hit commission. It shows you exactly what you were paid on. They have great marketing tools on there. It's where you're going to find your PowerPoint that you can use to present to clients. They have a 1-800 number on here that is always answered by somebody, very knowledgeable people. So even if you were in an appointment and this was kind of new to you and you were stumped, you had a question, pick that phone up and call them. They'll walk you right through it. They're just fantastic in what they do. So why sell the product? Every one of your clients need it and are thinking about it. We showed you that the numbers on that. It's a great income opportunity. It truly is an income leg to your stool at your company that you would be shocked at the amount of revenue you can generate. The trusts are free, no fees, no other professionals advising your clients. You know, we always ask our clients, hey, has anyone ever talked to you about this before? I've been doing this for 13 years. I've never had a client tell me yes one time, not once. No one's ever talked to them about pre-planning their funeral the way that we're showing you how they can do it here. Their funds are totally portable. Again, we talked about the company, peace of mind for your clients, and if you hate paperwork, you're going to love this program. 2 pieces of paper, your state replacement form, that's it. That's all you need to do. And if you don't sell it, someone else will. I love to talk about great compensation because I think this is a conservative example. But if you had 2 couples each month that you just put 10,000 a piece into the funeral trust, you're talking about adding $40,000 to your bottom line, and that's only doing it 10 months out of the year. We all know how in this business we're pretty fond of our vacation time, but you can see there. I don't know what your monthly expenses are at your office, but wow, what a great tool to add into your planning to cover maybe your office rent or whatever you see fit, but $40,000 always goes well to the bottom line. So what we'll look at next, I want you just to focus up there on the left-hand box. So if you gave a client a 2% growth interest rate and you wrote them $0 to $60,000 worth of premium, we'll go down here to the average age of clients we work with, which is anywhere from 60 to 75 years old. You can see under the standard issue, the commissions are 15.29%. You know, and then once you get into the older ages, we're looking at 8.8. But let's just take the middle of the road, 61 to 65-year-old couple. You pick up $30,000 from them. That's a $4,000 commissionable sale that's in your bank account, you know, within 2 to 3 days after submission. So again, fantastic commissions as we're seeing commissions decrease in everything else in our insurance industry. This is the one that's holding steady for us. They do have sales conferences. Their next one is going to be into the Punta Cana Resort. I went last year to their sales conference that they had at Marco Island, Florida. Again, everything they do is first class. It also gives you a chance, obviously, to network with people who are doing what you do for a living to see how the top producers are putting $1 million in production or more into this plan each year. So some of the biggest challenges, obviously, getting comfortable with the concept. I always like to use the story of when I wrote my first annuity back in 1993. I was sitting with a dry cleaner owner in Marion, Ohio, and I couldn't believe that the guy slid a check for $25,000 across the table to me. I just thought that was unbelievable. But here we are today. We're in 2017. I think I could teach a class on annuities, and it's not unusual for a client to, you know, ship a check for $300,000-$400,000 across the table. So again, the more you do it, the more you become comfortable with it. You know, 13 years ago, it was new to me. But here I am today, and we use it in our practice still. So learning how to present, again, stressing the benefits of pre-planning. That's why it's good to also attend the training. And then keep it on top of your mind, every client, every day. You know, it's not a hard question. Have you pre-planned your funeral? I mean, it's that simple to get an answer from someone and then be able to lead them down the path to planning. So one of the things that we use in our business model is called a guide for beneficiaries. The reason we put this into place is we wanted to make sure when someone passed away in a household that we were in, that we were the ones that got the first call. So that, because as you well know, that gives you more planning opportunities. So if you implement this guide while you're doing your client reviews, you're going to find that clients, as well as you think you know them, they don't tell you everything about everything that they have. The client data sheet we have in there will help you extract that information. Once you get that information, it's going to give you planning opportunities. When we first implemented this, and it's been about 5 years ago now, we picked up, now these are from existing clients that we thought we knew everything about. We picked up an additional $1.5 million in annuity premium. We picked up a couple $100,000 in traditional single premium life, and at least $150,000 in National Guardian life insurance. And again, practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the more you become comfortable, the more you ask the question, have you prepaid your funeral? Obviously, the more opportunity you're going to get. This is what, ours is all done in color, but this is to give you a basic idea. It's a guide for my beneficiaries. For help settling my estate, please call my advisor. Ours says at Enting Financial Services. And then inside the guide is actually a step-by-step tutorial for the beneficiaries on what they need to do when someone passes away. And everyone that we delivered this to told us that they were so appreciative because they knew now that their kids would know what to do when they passed away. And obviously the first thing we want them to do is call us. This is the confidential personal and financial organizer that we did for them. This is where they really spilled the beans, because we went through every page of this with them, really dug deep into detail, and they gave us all the information, because what we told them was kind of similar to what I told you about the National Guardian Life organizer and the policy, where if everything was in there, they could take care of everything for them. This is what this does for them. If they've got this financial organizer in with the beneficiary guide, it's basically their roadmap to take care of their parents' final wishes. You can see question 8 on this page of the organizer. Have you prepaid your funeral? Yes or no question. Again, I would encourage you, if you get licensed to use this product, just remember that. What do we got there? 6 words. So again, that's the financial organizer. Once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, Insurance Agency Marketing Services has all this already ready to ship out to you, where you could implement your company name in there and use it in your practice as well. I thank you for letting me take some of your time on a Friday, and then if there's any questions I can answer for anybody, I'll certainly be happy to do that for you.
Okay, thank you, John. Good stuff there. So our first question comes from Roger. He wants to know, it looked like in the state of Florida, under the funeral trust, it said NA.
Correct.
So they can still take advantage of the estate trust, though, correct?
Sure, and I have a friend of mine who lives in Florida. In fact, I just spent some time with him last week. But he, I explained to him that just because you can't get the funeral trust, you can still use the estate planning trust and accomplish the same goal. It's just not designed for somebody who's laying in a nursing home or who is going to go on Medicaid within the next 5 years. But if you've got somebody that's healthy, that it doesn't look like they're going to have that situation, then by all means, just put $15,000 or whatever you determine their funeral cost to look like into that plan.
All right. Our next question comes from Ron. He asks if there's a marketing system for new client acquisition.
Well, Ron, that's a great question. And we have tried multiple things. We've found our best results have been working with our existing clients, looking at old life insurance policies, getting referrals from people that we've done the plan for, but we just haven't found a solid marketing piece that will get the responses from the people that we're looking for. I always, we've got a lot of agents across the country licensed to do this, and I tell them, hey, if you come across something that's working for you, that's helping you generate new clients from this, bring it to our attention so we can share it with the group. So believe me, I will be the first guy to get that out to everybody if we stumble across it.
And then Ron also asks, to be exempt from Medicaid spend down, does the NGL contract need to be attached to a specific funeral home and funeral contract?
No, it does not. It's a standalone document that will be, or a policy that will be assigned to the funeral trust, and that's what will give it its protection.
Okay, and Mike asks, what is the difference between this trust versus an ILET?
Well, if you're number one, if you're using an ILET, you're paying an attorney to draw that document, and you're typically funding bigger life insurance policies to be able to maybe take care of estate taxes, whatever the need may be. But this is a simpler format. You don't need to set up an ILET and pay an attorney, $2 or $3 grand to create a document.
Okay, I'm going to stick a quick poll out here real quick before I forget. So what I'm doing right here is I'm putting out just basically to determine if you want to get appointed with National Guardian Life. All you need to do is mark yes. I will email the contracting out to you here today. You can simply complete that, get it back to me. And then for those of you that may join us late, we're going to have a training on this on June 5th at 10 a.m. Central Time. So John will go through the way he presents it, the way he handles objections. And so I would certainly encourage you, if you're contracted or if you're interested in getting contracted, go ahead and mark yes. We'll get you set up for that. And one of the things that I found is that when agents and advisors attend this particular training, it makes it so much easier. Then we see business coming from those that have attended the training. So gosh, I can't stress enough how important I think it is to do that, because you're going to run into some objections. I mean, obviously, selling life annuities or whatever products, you're used to handling those, but this is a little bit different. This is, as John mentioned, you're not going to run into any competition out there. So when they see this, they're probably going to have some objections that you're not used to, and I think it'd just be wise to attend this and get some good ideas on how to handle that. If there are any other questions, go ahead and type those in the question box. In the meantime, I guess maybe you can't do that because the poll is up, can you? So great response here as far as interest in getting appointed. That's super. John, you have any other thoughts while we're getting stuff completed?
I would just say to everybody out there, I know anytime something is new, it can be challenging, but I also know that when you conquer it and you're writing business, it's very rewarding, and then it just becomes second nature. So again, I will tell you, with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, I've been with them now for 12 years doing my business. And if you need anything, if there's anything with National Guardian Life that comes up that you need an answer on that you can't get, they are the first ones that you can reach out to them and they'll go right to bat for you and get whatever it is that you need. So you're aligning yourself not only with a great company in National Guardian Life, but also with the support system from Insurance Agency Marketing Services. So I think the combination of those two sets you up for success.
Well, I appreciate that, John. And just real quick here, so the number, I'm going to close the poll out here. It looks like it's kind of hit a standstill. But as John mentioned, you can call us here. Our number is 800-255-5055. Okay, so I'm going to close that. John, thanks so much for taking time out of your day. I know that it takes you out of production when you're doing this with us, and certainly a great help. So again, thank you for that. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And again, as I mentioned, I will email you out the recording. For those of you interested in contracting, I'll send this out to you here as well. And I personally will be following up with a phone call to see if you have any questions and what we can do to help you get up and running, offering this to your clients.
Awesome. Everybody have a great weekend.
Yep. Thank you much.